All right, got our recording going there. See if I can get some video. There I am. All right, here we go. It is September 22nd, and I just noticed that just within the last couple of days how it's getting dark sooner than I like. So I hate it when we lose our summer. Something about that just is not just not good for the brain. All right. Well, anyway, I got some cool stuff to go over with you guys. Jeff, I don't think he's on the call right now. He sent me a video of Kasim. The guy's name is Kasim. He's the one that did the thing at Perry Belcher's event about the Performance Max. And this guy is like, he reminds me of a younger me when he first got into the industry, or when I first got into the industry. And Richard, you will appreciate this. He's not an SEO guy, but he knows a lot about the whole internet marketing space. And he made a very interesting comment about SEO as it regards to Performance Max. Because in Performance Max, what this is, they just released a thing 2 weeks ago, or actually not even 2 weeks ago, just recently, just like 2 days ago, saying that we all have 2 weeks before Performance Max kicks this thing in gear, where they actually write your ad copy for you. So they're going to be determining what the best ad copy, and not only that, which landing page in your site that they should send people to, which is kind of good and kind of not. You can turn this off now, but if you let it do its thing, that's what it's going to do. It's going to write your ads, and it's going to send them to the right page within your site based on all of its knowledge. And Google's got a lot of knowledge at this point of user behavior. They've been collecting this stuff since 2006 that I'm aware of. It could go back even further, but I know from 2006 they were collecting everything. So that's kind of interesting. But one of the things is, when they write your ad, what are they using to write it with? And it's coming from your copy. So think about that. If you've got a crap site, if you have not optimized your site, what kind of data is it going to get to write your ads? So he was referring to how important on-page SEO is. And when he referred to on-page SEO, he made a statement that I've been saying for over 20 years. That there's nothing about SEO that has really fundamentally changed. Nothing. He said, find the oldest SEO course you can get and just follow it. For on-page now, there's a lot of other stuff. And he refers to all the other stuff as just black hat hacks that will last 5 minutes. Kind of the same thing I've been saying for a very long time. So, and I know, Richard, a few calls back, you would ask me to go over on-page SEO, and I'm like, it's not much has changed, if anything. If you go all the way back to the beginning, I like to know where stuff started, where it actually came from. And most of the SEO on-page standards were set by Yahoo. Yahoo really set the stage for here's how a site should be put together. And it's not only the content, it's your navigation, they love breadcrumbs. If you don't know what that is, breadcrumbs is like you have category and then subfolder and then page, and you can click back and link to any one of those. It's like as you go through the site, you're leaving a breadcrumb from where you came from. They love that stuff. And basically that's internal linking. It's telling them path. And if you think about that, what is Google Performance Max basing everything on? The path. How you got there, what you did next, where you know, how you transition through the site, how long you stayed on each page, and ultimately, if you bought. And if you bought on the first visit, or you came back 10 times before you bought, and they're looking at, okay, if you came back 10 times, what did you do each time? So what they're trying to do is they're trying to take all of that and come up with an AI piece of information that says somebody that's in this circumstance, and think about timeline as far as the ACT program, somebody on the timeline right here, they want to be over here. They want this desired outcome. And this is their learning process. So in their eyes, they want to shorten the learning process. They want to take that person and get them what they want. Remember, I've said this many times, Google's entire being is about delivering a good user experience, getting somebody what they want so they come back, because they get paid from advertisers. The more eyeballs they have, the more money they make. So if they can keep people coming back, that's more revenue for them. So that's what Performance Max is doing. I'm going to put a link in the chat to this guy's video. It's a video on YouTube from Chasm. And if I would highly recommend that you follow this guy and watch his stuff and learn everything that you possibly can about Google Performance Max. And I think it's the way of the future for online advertising. Roger, go ahead.
John, it sounds like if you aren't very good at writing ads, then Performance Max sounds like, yay, a very good helper. But if you want to write your own ads, why learn up on Performance Max?
Performance Max is going to do better than you ever could. It may not be there right now, but it's going to be. So, and I know you don't like to work hard. The only reason that you're going to tell me that you would want to write your own ads is because you believe you could do it better. Right? It's a control thing, and I get that. But given the option, if you said, hey, I can either, you know, put blood, sweat, and tears and work my butt off here and try and wonder if I'm going to get this right, or if I can hand it over to this guy that knows what he's really doing and let him do it for me. That's what Performance Max is going to be. I don't know that it's there just yet, but I would learn everything you can about it. And
John, the ideal is you give it a budget. Let's say you throw $1,000 at it, and it automatically generates 10 different ads, and A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I tests it, right, to different audiences, automatically determine which is the better performer, optimizes that ad and rolls that out. That, yeah, that would be good.
Yeah, but see, that's not what it's doing. If that were what it was doing, it would be basing everything off of only you and your campaign. It's not. It's basing this off of every user on the internet. Think about the sheer volume of horsepower of intelligence here. Tapping into that. This is like, I believe this, the people that master this, and it's not going to be me. I'll tell you that right now. I'm done and over. I'm not looking for a new career, but I'm telling you, this is going to be probably the next one. This is like the feeling that I had back in the beginning of SEO, when you could conquer the world and you were so far ahead of anybody else that I'm not going to say they didn't have a chance, but you had such a huge advantage for yourself to be able to control that outcome. And I think this can give you that in the future. Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, I am simply far less enamored with Google AI. Their ability to snoop your data, yeah, they've mastered that. But my plain Google searches, I have intensely searched for things where I put things with the plus sign in the Google search, or the quotes, to ensure that, for instance, I want a 4,000K bulb. 2,700 incandescent is too orange. 5,000K, the common daylight, is too blue. I like 4,000K bulbs, and I want it in a chandelier size. Just searching for that, and I want it more than 25 watts, right? Equivalent is impossible. And there's been like 5 of these where I've been searching, and I've had to just no. All my search results are, I searched for a 4,000K chandelier bulb LED 60 watt equivalent, and I'm getting back, I don't know, automobiles and, you know, other weird stuff in the search. So, you know, sorry if I'm a little skeptical yet.
No. What you're talking about is a comparison of apples and oranges. The search that you're talking about is a Boolean search. It's based on very old technology, and you're right on the money. It sucks. The search results that are coming up being displayed, they're weak, they've been manipulated and all that. But what I'm referring to here is a whole different animal. This is basically taking the ability to find your ideal customer and bring them to you in the best possible way, and short-circuiting the process of sales. It's a completely different mechanism, completely different animal.
John, writing the ad is just writing copy, right? That's for humans to either be compelled by or not compelled by. Are you also suggesting that they are picking the keywords and getting in front of the right eyeballs? Because that's not part of writing the copy.
Correct. It's part of SEO though. So in SEO, what you're doing is you're trying to build the best content for a user. And this goes all the way back to the beginning, where Yahoo said, here's what you need to do. You need to build content to make it easier for your user to find what they're looking for within your site. That's why the breadcrumbs, the navigation, the intuitive, you know, everything being good for the user. The keywords were to say, okay, this site is about this. So that data, Google is collecting all that data to try and determine, okay, we got 1 billion rocks here. Which ones do we look under first? So in with this, I don't know exactly how it's going to pick what it's going to write as far as the content, but I do know that they know where you're looking, where your eyeballs are, where your mouse is rolling over. Like if you notice when you scan a page, you're doing something unconsciously with your mouse. You're like highlighting things with your mouse that's important to your eyeballs. They're catching all of that. So when you talk about attention grabbing headlines, that's probably where they're going to grab that, of what your eyeballs are focused on. So I don't know for sure. I don't know the algorithm. That's something that even Kasim hasn't figured out, but he's actively trying to. And he's talking about that, you know, in his videos. He's talking about where are they getting the data, what are they looking at, what's important. And the biggest thing he said was, he says, you damn well better focus on your content if you're going to use Performance Max. Now, if you're not, then none of this is relevant. You just go on writing your stuff the way you know it should be and hope for the best. But if you want to tap in, I mean, and I'm talking about something much deeper than your ad in your funnel. I'm talking about tapping into a worldwide marketplace to find your ideal customer and bring them to you in a way that is the best possible percentage chance that you're going to turn them into a customer. That's an incredibly powerful thing. So I think, you know, in part, you might be right for the beginning part here. You know, you're probably going to have to write your ads. I don't think they're quite there yet, but I don't think it's going to take them long to figure it all out. And what you should do, your content really should be the ads that you're writing. That's the short of it. You do need to get good at writing copy. You need to get good at writing your ads, so Google has good stuff to work with. Because think about it, you might write a page. If you write a sales page, you've got multiple headlines in there. You have multiple attention grabbers. How would you like it if Google said, hey, this is the one we should use on the front end of this thing to get you the best results? And you didn't have to analyze a gazillion different metrics to figure that out on your own and wonder if it was right. That'd be pretty freaking cool. So that's all I'm talking about is leverage. You know, when you've got something that you can leverage to your advantage, that's all I did with SEO in the beginning. I took something that was there. I didn't make it. I didn't change it. I just took it for what it was and I leveraged it to my benefit. And this is the same thing. It's there if you want to leverage it. It's still going to be there if you don't. It's just a matter of how you want to use it.
John, I took that to heart, and when I wrote that report that I sent you, the SEO, the big lie, and it became very clear to me that rule number one for Google, but like you said, Yahoo started, is they want to give the user the best experience they can the first time, every time. Yeah. And if you obey that rule, you will be gold, as you have proven now for how many years, with the way that if we followed what you have and focus on the user experience. Now, one of the things you can do to upgrade that user experience is the stuff that I was asking about for on-page optimization, which you've just answered. And I'd gotten away from doing breadcrumbs, but if you're going to be doing articles and blog posts for the purpose, your content for the purpose of SEO and that sort of thing, putting that breadcrumb at the bottom of the article, where on the left it has, go to the previous article, and on the right it says go to the next article. That looks to me, and I'm going to go back to making sure that that's on there too. I mean, that's
if you think about WordPress, it was like people were using WordPress for SEO purposes. And I told them it's not WordPress that people like. It's not WordPress that the search engines like. It's the content. And WordPress automatically put the breadcrumbs in for you. It automatically made a blog that was indexable and searchable and had the, all the navigation built right into it. That's what Google liked. It wasn't the fact that it was WordPress. I was building my sites like that long before WordPress. And WordPress never outperformed any of my sites. It was just, it made it easy for the person to build a website and have it SEO friendly right out of the box. That was it. I was terrified. I would not put any of my clients for a long time. I would not allow them to even be on WordPress because I knew the threat. The threat is no longer there, because Google found a better way. But the original threat that I had, that I kept all my clients out of, was, look, the biggest problem on the internet right now is SEO for Google. This is in Google's eyes. The biggest problem for them is people that are manipulating their results. They hate it. There's a war going on SEO. You don't want to get in the middle of that battlefield. You want to be on the winning side, which is undetectable. It's just solid, good content that they love and they reward you for. And I said, they will pick off anything to identify who's doing SEO. And right now, the biggest thing is WordPress. Everybody's talking about it. Everybody's moving to it. They're all using WordPress plugins. And I tell you what, talk about putting a footprint on you or putting a target on your back. Just install a WordPress SEO plugin and look at the code, like SEO by Yoast. It's like, really? Are you people that stupid? SEO by, you're publishing that you're doing SEO. You're standing in front of a dragon throwing rocks.
John, are you saying that you need to do you need to do everything that Yoast or these other plugins do, but you do it through a plugin?
Originally, yes. What happened was, and what I thought was going to happen was, I thought Google was going to just say, okay, we're just going to wipe out everything that's on a WordPress site just to get rid of it, because 99% of it is SEO garbage. I thought that was going to happen, and it didn't happen. That was one of the things I was wrong on. There was only a couple of things out of 25 years in SEO that I was wrong on, and that was one of them. And I was wrong by a sliver. It could have gone either way. I would prefer to protect my clients at any cost. If it was keeping them out of WordPress because it was a threat, then I'm going to keep them out of WordPress. And that's what I did. It didn't come to fruition. So did it hurt anybody that I kept them out of WordPress? No, it just kept them safe no matter what. That's all it did. Now they're beyond that. There's no threat in my eyes of using WordPress because it's WordPress. Because Google got smart and they went to AI. They went to the rank brain to figure out what's a good quality site. They went to user experience. So they jumped that hurdle. I guarantee you, if they didn't have that figured out when they did, they would have wiped out WordPress. I can almost assure you. And people will argue that with me. They can't take down WordPress because it's got 75% of the internet on it. Bullshit, they can't, and they will. I watched them wipe out content. They threw content completely out the window when they went to linking. They turned the whole SEO thing into a popularity contest, literally overnight. They couldn't trust content, so they disregarded it. Just in a flash. So if you're telling me you think that if they're willing to wipe out content, that they're not willing to wipe out WordPress, you're out of your mind. It's you can't get any bigger wipe than content. Just to say content doesn't matter. We're just going to look at this as a popularity contest. And that
John, when was it they wiped out content?
That was, I would say it was prior 2010. I don't know exactly the date, but it was shortly after I generated that content generating machine and they figured it out. It was very shortly after that. It was like they actually called me into their offices to have a discussion about that. And it was within 2 weeks of that conversation that they threw content out the window.
It's your fault, John.
It might have been. I might take blame for that one. I don't know. I never did, but it's a strange coincidence. But that I still have that software that I developed back then. And I for a long time, I told everybody, I go, man, if they ever go back to content, I'm going to rule the world. But they never switched back to, I mean, content is important now, but for different reasons. It's important for how people interact with it. Pure and simple. And that's the way it should be. That's the way it should have been from day one. So they have just forced what's right. And I applaud them for that. I think it's awesome. I think it's brilliant. When I predicted that one in 2010, which is when I started building the Rainmaker software. And that's now evolved into SitePop. And it's still working because it's in alignment with that whole thing. So cool stuff. But anyway, in the chat, I put the link for that YouTube video from Kasim. That's, you know, if any of you guys are interested in the Performance Max, I haven't seen anybody other than him that I would trust and follow on that, like what I've seen out of him. He's really sharp. He's a sharp cookie. Another thing too, I've been sharing ads with you guys. We've been kind of picking ads apart lately. Video ads are really hot, and some of the there's different levels to video ads. There's a lot of different levels. Like there's the level where you can buy a doodle software and write a script and it'll doodle it out like it's handwriting the stuff. That worked really well for a long time because it's interactive. It's like people love to watch stuff. They like to be part of the thing. If they just hear a voice and it's just a static screen, that's not that great. That's probably your lowest level of interaction on a video. Now, if you're talking face to face and they can see you like we're doing here, that's a little higher level, but you have to be animated. You know, you can't just be dull and boring and you know, talking a monotone thing. You're not going to hold their attention. You've got to be really good at holding their attention. So that's, you know, another step up. And you can go all the way up the ladder to full-blown theatrics and even like movie quality. Have you guys seen any of the ads that like it's a spoof off of a movie? They're awesome. Like Russell Brunson has done it. I don't know how much he spent to make that ad for ClickFunnels, but it's like an old Western. And I forget the movie that it was patterned after, but it was freaking awesome. I mean, it draws you in. There's no way you're going to stop watching it. It's like it feels familiar to you, and it's entertaining, and it's just incredible. It's like watching a major motion picture. So that's the top end of stuff. And I don't know, has anybody heard of Billy Jean Marketing? He is this guy, he's kind of like the Black Frank Kern, for lack of a better analogy. He's awesome at what he does. He sells a lot of training stuff. I've bought into a lot of his training stuff. I don't think the training stuff is near as good as Frank's stuff. You know, he's got a lot of good things, but he doesn't really show you how to make them repeatable. Like recipes. You guys need recipes if you're going to create this. You can copy, you know, you can be a copycat marketer. That's great. But it's my goal to get you to be an actual creator, understand the recipes, understand how to bake the cake. The only way you're going to swim in deep water if you're thrown in is if you can bake the cake. That's the only way. So that's my goal. That's why I go to such extreme extent to create the recipes and dig down and tear the stuff apart for you so you can see the pieces and be able to learn it and understand it and replicate it and build it on your own. So anyway, but he has made a video, and this is not new. He did this probably 3 years ago. It was right after Wolf of Wall Street came out, and it's patterned after Wolf of Wall Street. Are you guys familiar with that? So it's very, very interesting. In fact, anybody want to see it? You guys want to see it? It's like 5 minutes, totally worth the 5 minutes. But he does everything. Yes. He does the attention grabbing up front. And then, you know, you go into kind of whisper mode. Now he's got your attention. Now he's going to start sharing secrets, and he's going to entertain the hell out of you in the process. And then at the end, after he's created all this demand and desire, listen to it for the emotion. He's pulling emotion. And then he's got the call to action on the end. And it's really, really well done. So let me get over here. It's on YouTube. I'm going to share my screen here.
$25,000 to the girl who lets me shave her head.
Wait. In about 4 minutes, this advertisement is going to disappear, which gives me just enough time to shave her head and give you the opportunity to become a real marketer. My name is Billy Jean, and I'm the wolf of paid advertising. When it comes to paid advertising, on any given month, I spend about $10,000 on podcasts, another $36,000 on billboards, about $100K on Facebook, and another $200K on YouTube. Cheers. And if I'm being completely honest, another $30,000 to $50,000 on this penthouse, company trips, a Bentley, a Corvette, a suite at the San Diego Padres. Why? Well, that's because it's awesome. Now, before you skip this ad, let me ask you a question. Do you hear that? That's the sound of opportunity knocking. Some entrepreneurs will skip this ad because they're allergic to opportunity, but not you. You're smarter than them. You know the consequences of not using social media advertising in 2017, and that's why you're still here listening. See these little black boxes? They're called computers. And I'm gonna let you in a little secret about these computers. They're not gonna create advertisements themselves. Without you, they're just worthless hunks of plastic. Like a loaded M16 without a trained Marine to pull the trigger. And in the case of the computer, it's up to each and every one of you, my highly trained marketers, my geniuses who will not take no for an answer, my freaking entrepreneurs who will not stop advertising until your clients buy or freaking buy. Let me tell you something. There is no nobility in free traffic. My business has relied on paid traffic, and my business has relied on free traffic, and I use paid every freaking time. Yeah. Because when I need customers, even if I'm in the back of a limo, I can open up my laptop, log into Facebook or YouTube, turn on an advertising campaign, and watch the customers fly in like this $40,000 gold watch. Now, if anyone thinks I'm being superficial or materialistic for using social media, well, go pass out flyers outside of McDonald's, because that's where you belong. But before you click out of this ad and you depart this room full of winners, I want you to take a good look around at the geniuses in this room. Go ahead. I'll give you a moment. Because sometime in the not so distant future, your business is going to be in big trouble. And you're going to be begging to pay one of these geniuses to do your marketing. So you listen to me and you listen good. Are you behind on your credit card bills? Good. Register for my training and start advertising. Does your girlfriend think you're a freaking loser? Good. Register for my training and start advertising. Is your landlord ready to evict you? Good. Register for my training and start advertising. I want you to deal with your problems by becoming a genius. All you have to do today is register for my training and implement what I teach you. And I will put you in front of more customers than Amazon on Black Friday. I want you to ram your advertisements down your customers' throat until they choke on it. Until they freaking choke on it. You'll be relentless. You'll be ferocious. You'll be marketing freaking geniuses. Now let's knock this mother out the park!
All right. How was that for aggressive?
That was a hell of a lesson. Seriously. And I love the gimmick. You hear that? Hear that? That knock of opportunity. If you don't get into CT, if you don't get ahead of your marketing and you don't get into the new technology of reaching your right customer, you're not going to hear that pounding of opportunity.
Yeah. Did you notice that? And he said it 2017. I knew it was a few years old. I didn't think it went back that far, but that was when he did that, was in 2017. So that's 5 years ago. And notice he did a really, really magnificent job of bragging without the non-normal way. Like when he pulled up in the limo and he was talking about, oh, and if I'm being truthful, I spend another 30K on this per month. And he said, why? because it's awesome. You know what that was? That was pure significance. It was, I always tell you guys, if you're going to do something, do it for a purpose. Don't just talk about yourself for the sake of talking about yourself. He did that for significance because he knows that's what his market wants. They want to be looked up to. They want to be significant. And what more significance could you have than spending 30 grand just because it's awesome? You know, to have the box at the Padres and be picked up in a limo just because it's awesome. He wasn't referencing, you know, I do this for me, you know, it wasn't look at me. He engineered that beautifully to instill significance of what you want. That's all part of the emotion. So that was absolutely brilliant, brilliantly implemented. So
I would say, I look at that thing and run the other way. He is a scam artist. He can rent that limo. He can, you know, that he can hire the actors and all that sort of stuff. That's too cult for me, boy.
Yeah. No, we are on a higher level than the people he's selling to. He's selling to new people, fresh, you know, wet behind the ears. And they're craving the significance. The reason that looks like a scam ad to you, Richard, is you've been around the block. You know it's a scam ad. We all know that it's not how good the product is. It's how good the sales funnel is. Like, look at me with SEO. I never really aggressively marketed SEO. Look at how many people didn't know what the hell they were doing that had multi-million-dollar a month SEO agencies selling absolute garbage. Didn't work, high churn rate. They were just really good at selling it. And they made a ton of money doing it. So just because somebody knows how to sell something doesn't mean it's good. So, and to your point, a lot of times if they're that good, yeah, maybe you should run. I don't believe that anybody ever saw any presentation that I did and got the feeling that they should run. I don't think so. If they did, I don't know. But
there's a lot of people out there looking for him and Grant Cardone that are their bank accounts are gonna really suffer as a result.
Yeah. Oh, the internet marketing space is loaded with them. And usually the more aggressive they are like that, the worse they get.
Hey, John, I had a couple questions.
Okay, sure.
I just joined your affiliate under your Kartra. So
Okay.
my plans are to hopefully market that site pop and do a few other things. But I was wondering, because I've looked at some of your past videos, me joining the Kartra, what else do I get? I know I've seen guys on here talk about lead magnets, like they're getting things from you and your affiliate stuff in the back end. What, I guess, do I get other things for that, or does the rest of that stuff cost money? Or
no, actually, if you go into the ACT program, I believe under the bonuses tab, I've got a few different Kartra funnels that I've built in there that you can just load them right into your Kartra account.
I don't have the axe, I don't think.
Yeah, you should. If you're on here, you've got it. You have access to it. If you don't know how to log in, just shoot me over an email and I'll send you your login info.
Okay. Because I tried and it, yeah, okay.
I'll resend it for you. Just shoot me an email to remind me.
Okay.
And I'll get that out to you. But yeah, under the bonus tab, I'm pretty sure it's under the bonus tab. There's several different Kartra funnels I've got in there that I've built. I think one of them is the webinar funnel that I use.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, any funnel that you put in, whether it's one of my templates or Kartra has a ton of templates built into it as well. In fact, they've got some of the Frank Kern templates in there. But keep in mind, when you implement a template and you load a template in, there's still some configuration that has to be done.
Correct.
You know, you have to go through and when I first started with Kartra, I made the mistake of taking one of the advanced templates and I loaded it in thinking, oh, this is going to be awesome. I'm never going to have to do anything. This is going to solve all my problems. And it was so confusing because it imported so many pieces and I didn't know how they all interacted with each other, that it was very overwhelming. And it's not a good way to learn in overwhelm.
Right.
So what I did was I kind of took a step back and went back to the drawing board and I said, look, I just need this thing to do this. It's a very simple functionality. So I just built the first one out on my own and it was super simple to do. And I think the biggest problem with a lot of people that get into Kartra or ClickFunnels or any kind of builder, any kind of funnel builder, they are not familiar with really what they need it to do. And that's where Kartra's got awesome training if you know what you want to do. They've broken it down to like every little piece and they call it their Kartra training. So if you need to know how to build a form, they've got a perfect little training in there, exactly how to do the form or how to add an opt-in or, you know, every little thing you could do, they've got training for it, but it's by the piece. If you don't have like the big picture and know what the big picture looks like, all those pieces are great to know how to do the pieces, but you have to know how to put them together to put the puzzle together. And Kartra does not do a good job of giving you a picture on what the puzzle should look like.
Right.
So that's where I actually created Kartra training. I did a 2-day live event. It was live on Zoom. And I did that and recorded it. And I've been selling that for the last couple of years to people. And it's the overview. It's kind of like, okay, here's a basic campaign. I'm going to walk you through how to set it up. And it's like, you have to do this before that because of this. And after that, you really kind of get a big picture of how it all works together. And it's everybody that I've talked to that's been through it said it was a game changer for them in allowing them to be able to actually use and implement Kartra and get the most out of it. Because it's like anything else, you know, if you don't know how to build a website and you get WordPress and you're dropped in the middle of it, you'll probably throw in the towel after a short time because it's just overwhelming.
I'm trying to send an email to you, or I mean, on your contact page, and it says one or more fields have an error, but I don't see anything else to fill out.
You can just send me an email at john@internetdominators.com.
Okay, I'll send that. So
that'll get through to me.
okay, and so what you're saying is in the information, this act and all this other thing, it'll go into more information about what you talked about. Okay,
Yeah.
that's what I'm missing. Okay, I'll send that right now.
Yeah, there's a bunch of pieces. Like when you're logged into the actual ACT program, there's a bunch of stuff in there, including my original SEO training. Like if you want to know how to do on-page SEO, there's my original SEO boot camp in there under the traffic tab.
Super.
So, and that was another, I think, a 2 or 3 day event where I went through every piece of SEO. And some of the stuff's out of date. The stuff that's off page is more than likely out of date, but the on page stuff, that's evergreen. That'll be good forever.
John, do you have any suggestions on how to actually get support from Kartra? I mean, my wife had a situation where she was happily, her site's not completely active yet, but she was down for over 2 weeks because she never got a hold of Kartra to figure out how to get something to do. Is there a secret way to get a hold of Kartra for support?
The best way, the fastest way to get an answer from them is through their ticketing system. It's difficult to find it. And I think they did that by design. It's kind of difficult. You have to go into the support and then contact support. and then you got to click on some other button and then get to the ticketing thing. It's a multi-step thing to get to their ticketing system. And I have an inside track now with Kartra. I've got a guy that I think I told you guys about him. He reached out to me because I was one of their top affiliates, and I've got one of the highest stick ratios, and they wanted to know how I did that. So I've got his direct line, and in fact, I just talked to him yesterday about a couple of things, a couple of bugs in Kartra that have been in there. Very few people know about them, but there's definitely stuff that they need to fix. So I showed it to him, showed him where it was. He's taking it back to the development team, and they're going to fix it. And another thing I pointed out to him was they really need to work on their email blacklisting thing, because it's so many customers get blacklisted in there, and then you can't communicate with them, and you don't even realize it. The only way I realize it is every time I send an email out, I'm on the list, and if I don't receive the email, I go in and I'm blacklisted. That's the account holder is blacklisted. And why in the Sam hell would I be blacklisted? So if they're blacklisting me, you know that's a problem.
Hey, John, I had the same problem too, because I signed up a couple of days ago, and they didn't respond. And so I sent another one. I used a Loom, and I put, please respond. There's nothing I can do if I can't get past a certain place.
Was it through the ticket, or did you just email
them? I did the ticket.
Okay.
I think it's the ticket.
When you set up the ticket, you get an immediate confirmation email from the ticketing system.
I didn't get that, but I did get a thing that says that you submitted it. Is that what you mean?
Yeah, you got an email saying it was submitted.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, generally when I send in a support ticket like that, they're usually answered within a couple of days.
What about their chat?
Chat I have not used.
Okay.
You might give that a try.
Yeah.
I doubt it's manned 24/7, but during business hours, I would imagine they probably have somebody on it.
Okay. So I know you're busy there. Do you think maybe later you can send that link and stuff to me? I sent the email to you. I appreciate it. So
yeah, absolutely. As soon as we get off here, I'll do that.
Appreciate it.
John,
if you guys have any specific Kartra stuff, if it's something that is, a system problem or whatever, I can get it through to the right people. And a lot of times, people that are in our support group here, if they have problems with Kartra, they just ask me, because I can answer most Kartra questions. So Richard,
that's why my hand's up, John. I asked you for a second time if you would set up the Kartra so that it will show my domain rather than the Kartra domain, and you keep asking for information that Kartra doesn't supply. I go to their page and they say, you need to make the decision. Do you want a subdomain or not? I don't want a subdomain. Then you just need to put, this is what you need to put in the C record. And I did that, and it's never worked. So I'm happy to give you the login information. I can always change that after off the call. Would you show me how to do that? Because I'm going to have to be able to do that for other customers as well.
Yeah, well, here's the thing. You don't want the main domain, because then Kartra takes over your whole domain, and you don't want that because you have a WordPress site running on that domain. So you want to put it on a subdomain.
That was not a stipulation that they say that they talk about in their instructions.
If you do a CNAME record to an entire domain, wherever you send that CNAME, that takes over that whole entity. So that's why, like on mine, I have internetdominators.com is where my WordPress site lives. It's where, all my web stuff lives on internetdominators.com. I set up a subdomain of Dominators, .internetdominators.com, and I pointed all my Kartra stuff to that. So my CNAME record is Dominators.internetdominators.com, and then that points to the Kartra address. So that's what I've been asking you for, is where you want me to point what you want pointed.
Okay, well, they said that you can use your root domain
You
and still have
can.
have the Kartra pages be separate. At least that's the way the instructions read. And no
Right.
wonder it wasn't working. Well, I don't have access to the CNAME record, so you have to do that. So I have to come up with some kind of a domain, something dot a category of one.com. Would it be
Now-
better to do something small like just F, because I want funnels, so the subdomain is F for funnels or something, or do you need to do something like Dominators?
You can do whatever you want. You can do one letter. A lot of people use get, like get.acategoryofone.com or shop.acategoryofone.com, but you can use anything you want. I use Dominators just because I was brain dead when I set it up and I wasn't thinking, and I'm like, whatever. It doesn't really matter.
So will you set it up with the get dot a category of one.com?
Mhm. I can do that. Now in Kartra, you have to go in there and you have to set it up in Kartra. You have to say, I want a subdomain. Subdomain is get. And
Well,
then
that I can do on my side, right?
correct. And then everything else I can do on the CNAME record.
Okay,
So that was what I was waiting for from you, is what subdomain do you want it set up on? Because you don't want it on your main domain unless you don't want a website there.
well, that was the key piece of information that was neither in your email to me or in Kartra's instructions, that you'll lose your domain if you use your root domain inside of Kartra. So that's kind of an important piece that's missing there. That happens a lot when people are so familiar with something, the familiar goes invisible.
Yeah.
So
Now you can use it as a main domain if you're not using that domain for anything else. Like, let's say you had a .com and a .net. You could point all the Kartra stuff at the .net, all your regular stuff at the .com. It doesn't really matter. The stuff goes back and forth interchangeably, so it's seamless to the user.
Okay, great. Problem number 2 is that, and you said it was with my browser. Well, for unrelated reasons, I had to completely uninstall and reinstall Firefox, which is my primary browser, deleted all the bookmarks, deleted everything, so that when it was a brand new clean upload, when I loaded Firefox, it still does that problem. So I went into Chrome, which I proactively avoid using. So I don't think I've even opened it 6 times in 6 years. I opened that and the same thing happens. When you push pay, it clears all the fields and then says there's an error because the fields don't have values in them.
Okay. So that being said, my next guess would be that you have Java disabled or blocked.
But Java is needed to run everything else, kind of like YouTube and everything else. I've even downloaded all the JavaScript. Whenever the little pop-up comes, says, update Java, I'm updating it all. So if it's disabled, why do other Java things work?
That I am not sure, but those are the 2 things that I've seen that cause that behavior.
Okay, so where do I look up Java? Is there a global setting for Java somewhere?
That I have no idea. Unfortunately, I have no idea on that one. But what I can do,
Well, tell you what, John, you go, you've got the link to, my purchase pages, and all my purchase pages, I've reduced the purchase price, down to like $5 or something, just so that it's more than $1 but it's
Yeah.
not something that I'm gonna burn $600 doing 6 trial things on my 6 payment pages. So if you go in there and make a $550 purchase and it works for you, I will reimburse you for whatever you charge. I'll send you 10 extra bucks just to do it.
That
But-
was what I was going to recommend, is that I go in and try it.
Yeah, do that and I'll be happy to reimburse you for it. And then if you figure out what the problem is, then we can fix it. We won't have to do that again.
Okay. Do I have your login for your Kartra?
I sent it to you and I'm happy to send it to you again if you need it.
Yeah, I'll look. Actually, why don't you do that? Put it in your support ticket for that.
Okay, I'll be doing that.
And then I can pop in there and I can make sure you got everything set up right.
Yeah, because that subdomain will change all the links that I've already set you that need to be connected to the buttons on the website to go to the funnels.
It actually won't unless you change them physically.
Okay, I trust you.
When you set up the subdomain, it gives you the option now, just gives you another option to create a link. So if you go in and you physically change them to the subdomain link, then yes, then we need to update them. But just because you've got the subdomain in there, it doesn't change your links.
And but the link that shows up in the browser is the category of one domain, right?
Only if you change it to that for any given link.
No, I mean this, when the link, once they're connected, if they're connected correctly, when they click on a button on the website, it will go to the get.category1.com/ whatever the Kartra link is, right?
Yeah.
Okay, this is just being kind of a beastie to get through the thing.
Yeah, it's always a bear on the first one of anything. You know, doesn't matter if it's Kartra or WordPress or setting up an email blast or, you know, even setting up a social media account. I mean, how many buttons are there to click to create a Facebook page? Yeah. It's anything you do, there's going to be a little learning curve to it. And guess what? The second time you do it, it's going to be a little easier.
Thanks, John. Appreciate it.
By the third and the fourth time, you'll be going, what was the problem here? Then you'll be telling the next guy, come on, it's not that hard.
No, I will tell them it's like trying to swallow a chicken bone. If you go in there and try and learn Kartra from Kartra's trainings, without your training there, Kartra is still such a bucket of worms. It's just awful.
Yeah. Well, like I said, their training is actually good. Almost everything I know about Kartra, other than, you know, just tinkering with it, whenever I got stuck and I really needed to learn something, I learned it from their training. Their training piece by piece is really good. There's nothing at all bad about their training. It's just they don't have an overview training. They don't have a training like, here's how to build a marketing funnel from scratch. They just have all the little pieces in the middle. They're assuming that you know what you want. And that's a bad assumption.
Yeah. Then we start breaking down how you spell assume, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I get that one. I've used that example many times. The other one was, oh, I thought it worked that way. And I go, there you go thinking again.
Oh, John, I meant to ask, I finally found through, it took more discovery than I thought it would take to find that $60 a month free giveaway thing that you said you just kind of let run in the background for you. And I went and found it. And I'm getting a few responses and stuff, but I'm getting what I consider to be a really bad sign, and they're all Gmail accounts. Are these really people that are serious customers for what we're doing here?
Well, what these are going to be is they're going to be newbies. And Gmail that's a newbie thing. That tells you they're newbies. Now, if they were AOL addresses, then I'd say, what the hell? That's,
So I see the two giveaways that you got there. What products are you servicing with them that's actually appropriate for them, that will actually have them be a worthwhile client rather than somebody that comes on for 3 months and then bails?
well, with them, I know they're newbies. So the whole push to them is the free consult. So I can basically get in the beginning of their process. What I'm looking for, what I'm always looking for is I'm always looking for a lifetime customer. Who can I help from beginning to end? And there's no better person than somebody that's just beginning and hasn't been tainted yet. Because I can protect them. I can save them a whole lot of money and a whole lot of grief. I mean, imagine if you hadn't spent all the money with all the people that you spent money with and you just found me. And you just bought the stuff that I recommended. How much time and money and frustration would that have saved you? So that's what I'm looking at them as. That's it. It's a very newbie. It's somebody that needs a lot of help, needs guidance. And if the only guidance I can give them is this is not the right thing, you need to go back and get another job, that's fine. At least I can save them the years of torment. And there are a lot of people, you know, they see the grass is greener over there, but they're not made to be in business. And that's very apparent really quickly, you know, or they have an idea that's not going to fly. Like this was years ago, probably 10 years ago, or maybe more. My neighbor next door, he knew a guy that was going to open a business. And he said, hey, you know, would you mind talking to him? He really doesn't know much and he could really use some help. And I said, sure, send him over. So this guy came over, you know, we sat in my living room on the couch and he told me his idea. And this was a guy that quit his job. He was prepared to spend his entire retirement and life savings on this business. And as he was telling me the business, the first thing I identified was there's no market for this. This is going to be a disaster. But I let him, you know, go through his whole spiel, his whole story. And basically what he had was he had an idea to do a father to son greeting card. You know, so a father could really express his feelings to his son, right? It's a good idea. There's nothing wrong with it, you know, but I guarantee you there's no market for it. I did a couple of searches while he was talking to me. I did a couple of searches and there was 0 search results for fathers looking for cards to give their son to express their feelings so they could create a better relationship. It flat didn't exist.
It's called Hallmark.
Now, well, not just that, but not to say that a father doesn't want a better relationship with his son, right? Not to say that at all, because I'm sure they all do. But they're not looking for that to happen in a greeting card. They're not going to Google and say, hey, do you have a card that'll fix this problem for me? That's not happening. So not to say it couldn't. Like if you had, I talk about this in a lot of cases when people do something that is noble. They want to do something noble. They want to save the world. I'm like, that's really not a business. That's a movement. Like Woody, you know, Woody's got all these ideas that are movements. They're not really business ideas. And I tell him, I said, look, to create a movement, you have to be highly funded. You know, there's nothing wrong with charity. There's nothing wrong with giving back. There's nothing wrong with wanting to change the world, right? But that is a movement. And you damn well better be funded or have people ready to donate to it to fund you to make it happen. And this guy did not. He did not have enough money to make a movement and educate men that they could create better relationships with their sons by using his cards. I said, this is not going to go. You're going to be broken at the end of this road. And as I told him why, and as I explained it to him, The guy literally started crying on my couch. This is a grown man in tears on my couch. You talk about feeling bad. I felt like shit. I thought, God, I just really destroyed this guy. And after he kind of went for a couple minutes, I didn't know what to do. I was sitting there, and when he finally kind of got over it, he thanked me for saving him. That's why he was crying. He was crying because somebody cared enough to not let him destroy his life. That made me feel a little better about the whole situation. But for a few minutes there, I mean, I felt really like shit. But, if I can do that for somebody, I will save them from themselves if need be. And I told him, I said, your idea is not thrown out the window. I said, your opportunity here with this, it's a bad idea. It's an idea that needs a lot of money behind it to create the movement and the education to even know it exists. So people would want it.
It's a bad idea.
Well,
if you have an awkward relationship with your son already, and you send a gooey card, that's just going to come across cringy and make it worse.
Ain't going to fix it.
think.
Yeah, I get it. But
If you really want to do that, it's called send out cards. You subscribe and you can even write and create your own cards. So
well, with him, it was his messaging. It was the message in the card. But I said, if your only opportunity here is to go and just license this to somebody that does have the money. Go to Hallmark. I said, if Hallmark's interested and they're willing to license this from you, that'll tell you right there if it's a good idea for them. It's not a good idea for you. That was my final piece of advice that I left him with. And I never heard from him again. And I never saw the card show up, so I guess Hallmark didn't like it. So, or maybe he didn't even go to Hallmark. I don't know. Not sure what happened after that, but anyway, so I like to be in that beginning stage of somebody's planning on a business, so I can save them from, anytime you're starting a new business, you're walking through a minefield of things that you just don't know. Now, you might know your thing like the back of your hand. Whatever it is that you're going into business for, your product, your service, you might be the best there is at it. But I can almost assure you're probably not the best in business that there is. And usually it's very far from it. So you're literally, you've got your prize, you're holding your prize and you're trying to get it to the finish line and you're walking through a minefield. So you might want somebody that can point out the mines, say, don't step there, come this way, let me lead you to safety. There's a lot of alligators in the swamp. So that was a long answer for your question, right?
appropriate answer.
All
No,
right.
even if you
I've
haven't,
got a site pop question, John.
Okay, go ahead, Andy.
So I set up a project on Bing
Okay.
and it's been running for about 2 weeks now. And it still doesn't find me in the searches.
Okay.
So it says nothing found or not found.
Okay. And is it getting searches for you? Is it the little ticker going up?
Yes, it is.
Okay. So the searches are running. With Bing, it's the same as Google. My advice on how to set up a project and how to pick your keywords. In SEO, keyword research is everything in SEO, and this is no different. Your best thing is to find keywords that you already rank for in the second page position. I don't know if you did that or not.
Well, I tried doing that SEM rush thing and I didn't have much luck understanding the whole program.
Okay.
And so my website is based on mortgages and real estate.
Okay.
And it said the only keywords that were showing up were a mortgage calculator.
Okay.
And
So-
so I haven't done any SEO to the site yet, so
Okay, that's probably where you're going to have to start is
right,
with the SEO. Because remember, SitePop is not an all-in-one SEO end all be all.
right, I get it,
SitePop is like a third of the algorithm.
right,
And it's the third that's like the power punch on the back end of it.
right,
So it's like, you know, you do your on page, you do your off page, you get Google's attention, and then SitePop comes in and says, hey, this is important.
right,
You can do it the other way around. I mean, I've seen people take a brand new site that wasn't ranked for anything, but what they started off with is stuff they knew they were going to rank for, like their name.
yeah, and I've done that.
Stuff that's purely unique and all that. So what you might want to do is just go to Bing itself and type that keyword in and see if you come up at all anywhere. And
I don't.
just keep playing around with it until you find something that you do come up for.
Okay,
Like for instance, try the .com. If you put in the, you know, the yada yada dot in your .ca.
that's right, yeah,
So put that in and see if you come up for the actual domain.
okay,
If you don't, here's what you can do. You go to the search box and put site, SITE, colon, and then your domain. And if you don't come up, that means you're not indexed.
okay,
If you're not indexed, SitePop's not going to do anything for you because
right,
there's nothing to find. So the first thing in any SEO, the very first thing is to get indexed. So typically that happens through links. The search engine spider a link, they find your site and then they index it.
right,
So that would be an off page factor. The way I would recommend that is to go get directory links for your industry. And you can get, there's probably a ton of free directory links. You could even use social media. I mean, all you have to do is create a YouTube video, put your domain, your URL, HTTP, start there, put that as the first thing in the description of the YouTube video. And that's going to give you a link that the search engines are going to find.
okay,
So that, like with Google, for instance, YouTube is part of Google. So you're feeding that information right into the belly of the beast.
right,
And I know Bing has its own directories and stuff. So I would find, you know, some sort of a Bing directory, put your link in it and let them find it immediately if you're not indexed.
okay. So if I'm indexed on Google because Google finds it,
Mhm.
is it natural that I would be indexed on Bing, or is two separate entities? And
Two totally separate entities.
got it,
So like if you let's say you did the YouTube video, Google might
Which I've
pick it
done.
up. Google might pick it up in seconds, literally in seconds, and they'll index you. They'll start spidering your pages and they'll start indexing your entire site. Now, Bing doesn't necessarily do the same thing. They might take, you know, weeks or months even to find that YouTube video.
okay,
Because remember, they're out spidering the whole internet. They're looking for new, fresh content. But the
so
way they find it is through links.
like a week ago or something like that, there was a result and it found me on page 6 or something. So would that indicate that it is indexed?
That would indicate you're indexed, yeah. But you can tell for sure if you're ever in question of that. It doesn't matter if it's, you know, Bing or Yahoo or Google. You can go to the search box and put site, SITE, colon, and then the domain name.
Okay, I'm
And
definitely going to try that.
it'll pop up and it'll tell you how many pages you have indexed.
Oh, cool.
The other thing it'll tell you some cool stuff. A lot of times you'll have the domain and then you'll have www. If I see a whole page, if the whole first page is www, then that's what I'm going to optimize for. I never try and change Google's mind. I let it make up its own mind and then I ride along on the wave.
Okay,
Hate to do this, John. Could you say where that is one more time?
Where what is?
That you're going to look yourself up and see how you're indexed.
Just google.com. It's just a Google search. Like
Just saying search yourself. I thought there was something colon.
yes, let me get over here. Oh, I guess I gotta share the screen for you guys to see what I'm doing, right? Okay, so we're on google.com. I'm in the search box. I'm gonna put site, S-I-T-E, colon, internet dominators.com. Just like that. So site, colon, and then whatever your domain is, and hit enter. So it says I've got 2,310 pages indexed, right? And there's no www. See, there's a Kartra page, dominators.internetdominators.com. So Richard, that's a Kartra page. That's my subdomain. But notice there's no www here. There's NS2. That's actually one of my servers. That's one of my name servers. So it will show you everything under that domain. There won't be anything that's not in that domain when you put that colon in there. Like here's billing.internetdominators. That's my SEO billing software. There's another Kartra page. So that's how you do it. And you could do the same thing at Bing. I'm pretty sure of it. Let's test it and make sure I'm not lying to you. All right. See, I only have 33 pages indexed in Bing. So Bing has only picked up 33 of my pages.
Wow, that's a huge difference.
Yep. And notice still no www, but I don't see any subdomain stuff.
Why are you talking about the www? Is that because that's your actual site?
It's because I've never done anything to lead Google to believe www is important. Like some people, they'll make all their links www dot their domain name. So the more information that Google picks up, or they'll put that in their directory listings and all their stuff. That is kind of putting www is a rookie mistake.
That'd be me.
Well, and there's nothing wrong with it. There's nothing at all wrong with it. If you're advertising, like www was when the internet first came out, it was what people got people's attention to say, oh, that's an internet address. It's like if you were going to give somebody your phone number and you're giving them the country code, even though they're in the same country, you don't need to give them that. All that's going to do is like, oh, okay, there's something else for me to type in. You're just making it more confusing.
Jeez.
So there's no reason in the world that you would put www in front of your domain.
Is there a way to fix that?
Well, you can just start now and do it right, and eventually Google will figure it out. But like in WordPress, for instance, a lot of people use WordPress. You can set in WordPress what the standard is, and then it will set up an automatic thing that's called a canonical. A canonical is a redirect to the right page. So if you get the wrong page, it will automatically fix it for you in the web browser. If Google sees everything pointed toward one thing, it will start to believe it. Might not do it overnight, but it will start to believe it. And then everything that you do, you never reference www ever again.
Ever again. Okay, because I just did the search and everything on the page is www.
Yeah, and mine was that way long ago. You know, there was a time when it didn't matter, but all of a sudden with duplicate content, when Google came up with the whole duplicate content thing, all of a sudden www on servers are set up to default as an alias. So basically what you're saying is, hey, I have two identical websites, one sitting at www and one sitting at not www. Google just sees that as double content. So it's going to ignore one. There never was, I don't believe there was ever a penalty for duplicate content. I don't believe that for a second. There's a lot of SEO guys saying, oh, you're going to get penalized for duplicate content. I think that's bullshit. I never saw anything that would lead me to believe there was a penalty for it. All Google was trying to do is figure out which one's the original, and we're going to ignore all the rest. So if you had a blog directory with a shitload of stuff on it and it started identifying that as duplicate content, it was just going to ignore it. And now all of a sudden your links are gone. That's where people thought they felt a penalty because they were getting hurt because they did stupid shit. Going back to the whole SEO thing, don't even get me started on that.
Well, speaking of SEO, you said a while ago that on the in the ACT program, there was a place where there's on-page and off-page SEO tips.
Yes, under the traffic tab. So
Okay.
ACT is ACT.
Yeah.
The T is the traffic, and in there you'll see there's a thing called SEO Dominator Club.
Okay.
And that was my original training. This whole thing started as SEO training, and it was called the SEO Dominators. And as I started going a little more mainstream, I took it a step up, and I was lucky enough to get Internet Dominators before somebody grabbed it. I couldn't believe it was available. When I looked it up, I'm like, okay, that's me. Internet Dominators. I want the whole damn thing.
All right. And then so I can find some SEO tips in there, can I?
Mm-hmm.
Because that SEM rush thing, that was I'm not sure I read everything properly, or like I didn't really understand it. It would seem pretty complicated to me, but I couldn't find anything there.
It is in SEM rush. There's so much stuff in there. It's well beyond my capabilities to interpret it at this point. It's like I use it for like 2 or 3 different things to look at, and there's probably 500 things you could look at.
Right. Right.
It's like anything else. It's overwhelming and confusing until you do it, and then but like I said, I only use it for what I use it for. I use about 1% of SEM rush.
And you just look for what keywords are ranking in there?
Yeah. Like for instance, if I'm on a call and I'm trying to analyze somebody's site, I can pull up SEM rush. I can pop their domain in, and I can see a whole bunch of stuff about it that I can talk to them about.
Right.
I can identify problems. I can say, okay, you don't have very many links coming into the site. Site's not ranking very well. Here's what Google thinks you're about. And, in a lot of cases, it's going to unearth some problems, some issues that they're having. And in most cases, they want to fix their issues, and they've got somebody standing right in front of them that just shined a light on the issue. Who better to fix it?
Right.
So it's a great tool for consulting.
You want to shine a light on my problems?
Are we gonna
I've got them because that's not showing up.
Are we gonna need a flashlight or a searchlight?
I think it's going to be a searchlight from what I'm seeing anyways. I don't know.
Oh man, that's
and I guess my first biggest problem is everything is www.placebook.ca, not just placebook.ca.
Yeah. Well, here's a perfect example. SEM rush is using www. Go figure, right?
Right.
And in fact, I just put it in. I typed in like look what happens. I type in semrush.com, right? And I hit enter. It defaults to www. Like, what the hell are they thinking? I'd really like to talk to their people behind the scenes and give them a good lashing. But
so if they're like the be all end all of searches online, why would they have that big of a mistake? Like,
Well, they're not. They're just all SEM Rush is just an analysis tool. That's all it is. It doesn't mean they're the best at SEO. Doesn't even mean they're trying to SEO their site. It just and there's nothing wrong with www. Don't get me wrong. Don't think that there's anything evil about it. They have canonically trained Google, I'm sure, that their site is www. They don't have an semrush.com. If you try and go there, it doesn't exist. It just automatically forwards you to the other one. So
Right.
somebody just made that decision. Maybe they did it based on demographics. I doubt
John,
this.
there's nothing wrong with CompuServe.net as an email, but it signals something to the viewer, and www signals to me that you set this up a while ago and are not keeping current with fashion trends, because www was dropped 10 years ago or more.
Yeah, long ago. So, but again, and you're right. It's just that they're behind the times on that. They might do everything else so well that doesn't even matter. All right. So what's your domain to put in here?
www.
I'm not going there.
Placebook.ca.
Okay. So I'm going to put in placebook.ca and let's see what we get. Okay. So we've got 2 keywords. Authority score of 670 backlinks. All right. So just for shits and giggles, let's put www in and see if we get anything different. I don't think we will, but I didn't see it do anything. Did you?
No.
Okay, so let's go back to, let's start over. See if we get anything different here. 70 backlinks, so it's the same thing.
Same thing, yeah.
So in here, it makes no difference, but notice what it just did. It blanked out the www, so it's not even paying attention to it.
So that's a good thing.
See that, how it blanked it out on its own,
right?
So it's telling us, here's something. We could go to the exact URL, because here we're going to the root domain. I didn't think about that. Let's go. Okay, so on www, you notice what's different here?
Yeah, the backlinks and the authority are
It's
keywords.
It's got more authority, which is because everything's pointed to it, right?
Right.
It's got less backlinks, so it's got less juice coming in there, and it's not ranking. Data was not found, so it's not even finding any keyword ranking on the www.
Huh.
So that's interesting. Down here, it'll show you where your backlinks are coming from. And it shows there's 42 of them are follow. It also shows all 42 of those backlinks are coming from one place.
Wow.
And you have one link coming from URLM, which I'm sure that's some kind of a directory.
Yeah, I don't even know what that is.
So these are, and look at your anchor text. Anchor text is the thing in the link that tells Google what's on the other end. So what's it looking for? Is your site about site?
No.
Because that's what you're telling Google in all those links. You're saying, hey, there's a site over there.
Really, eh?
And then here, you're saying, go to website. So is the site about go to website? Probably.
So quick fix? No, of course not, right?
Well, the fix is really to go back to your on-page SEO first, build the site with, you know, the way you want it, get the structure right, forward the site to the non-www, you know, just basically just fix it from a baseline status going up. And get that dialed in first, and then do a little link building with some links that make sense, like whatever your site is about, that should be in the anchor text of the links, not overdoing it. Let's go back to root domain. Okay, 70 backlinks. Just take a look here. Okay, so still 42 of them are from there. Here, 9 of them, that's probably your own directory.
Yep, it is.
And then Barry Home, Douglas Anderson, and $10. But again, look at your anchor text. You know, this anchor text is perfectly fine. That makes sense. For somebody to link your domain to your domain, that makes sense. But here you've got empty. There's no anchor. You've got a link on something somewhere that's invisible, which that's a very, very old tactic for black hat SEO, is linking invisible shit. Not to say that they're going to ban you for 3 of those, but it's something that, you know, if you've got a box of eggs and one of your eggs stinks, the whole box of eggs stinks, right? You put it in your car's going to stink. So get the stink out of your box of eggs. throw the bad eggs out.
How do I find those bad eggs?
There's a software program called Ahrefs. It will show you, it's detailed link research. And it will show you all of your links, where they are. And then it's a matter of going out and finding them and fixing them. Or, you know, another way that you could get rid of them, if it's on a link, or if it's a link on a site that you don't have any control over, and you really want to get rid of it. I don't like this tactic, but you can go into Google, into their webmaster tools, and they have a tool for disavowing links. It's basically you're saying, I don't want to be associated with that link. I don't like that tactic because it goes directly against one of my laws of SEO, is anything that you do that a normal business owner wouldn't be concerned with, you're putting yourself on the radar. And a normal business owner is not concerned with who links to them. So it just goes against one of my general basic foundational rules. But that is a way that you could get rid of it. But I would prefer to, if you can't find it and fix it, just don't worry about it. Just bury it with good stuff.
So what I'm seeing here then is I've got 70 backlinks and 3 of them are bad eggs.
Correct. And you don't really have 70, you got 42 of them coming from the same place. So that really probably just counts as 1.
Okay, right.
Google doesn't count that like times 42 power strength.
Right.
It says, oh, this domain's linking to them. Okay, we'll count that. That's one point. Here you've got 9. So really, as far as referring domains, you've got 5. So I would consider you have 5 link sources. One probably being your own.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. That's the one I'm going to be trying to build though. So I was under the impression the more links I got on that site, the better it would be for me. So if I had that 9 was 100.
Well, there's links coming in and there's links going out, right? The more links coming in, the better, but it's looking for unique sources of links. Not just, you know, Like you can go and you can advertise on a site that'll put your link in their footer. Back in the old days, this is another old school black hat technique. You could go to someplace like Yahoo and you could say, I'd like to buy a text link in your footer. And, you know, it was cheap. Nobody wanted footer text links, right? So it was cheap. But all of a sudden now I spend $10 and I've got my link on the footer of every page of Yahoo, which is 10 million links and for $10.
Wow.
You know, that was an old school black hat technique. So it's like, oh, you want some links? I'll pour some links on you like gas on a fire. But, you know, as everything, Google evolved. It said, oh, we don't care about the number of links anymore. We care about how many places is sending links. And as they evolved further, they said, we don't care. Like if you go to today, you know what's important about a link today?
No.
Other than the anchor text and the stuff that's always been important, the AI now says who's following the link and what happens after they click it. So if you've got 10 million links out there and nobody's following them, what's that tell Google?
You're garbage.
Yeah, they're not worthy of being clicked. And if somebody clicks it and they hit the site and they bounce, what's that tell Google?
Not what they were looking for.
Somebody sent a user there that wasn't the right place to send them. So why should we send them there? That's what their AI is adding up.
Right.
So the game is the same, but the reason behind it is the only thing that's changed. So, and if you really think about it, if you go back to my original thing of how SEO should be done, if you did it right to begin with, you'd still be right today. You know, you're putting links in places where your traffic should be. You're doing things that a business owner would do. Business owner's not going to try and get 10 million links on every site on the planet, right? They're going to reach out to somebody that is a good business relationship with them, that sends them customers and say, hey, can you put a link on your site? You know, let's make it easy for your customers. Let's make it easy for you to send them to me. Right?
Yeah.
That traffic hits that site. They click the link, they get a good user experience, and life is grand. If you would have been doing that from the beginning, you would never have to change.
Right.
You know how many SEO tactics and techniques I've had to go back and change on my client sites over the years? Exactly 0. They're all still working today.
So that domain that you highlighted there in my referring domains.
I highlighted that to put it in here and just check it.
I was just gonna say, could you check that one? Because so that's a WordPress site that I'm trying to develop that points everybody to Facebook.
Okay. So 54 links, 5 keywords, authority score of 6.
5 keywords.
Actually got a little bit of traffic here. It's 100% commercial intent. That's good. Okay, so Yo Press.
YOA Press.
Okay, so you really only have 2 sources of links here. But look at your anchor text. You have 2 empty ones there. 28 of them. 28 out of all your links from 2 domains are coming up empty. And then here, this is good anchor text right here. Real
John,
estate.
is that, when you say anchor text, is that the text that is actually on the button or in the link that the button is connected to?
Typically, a button is considered an image link. Usually the button is an image and you've linked the image. So that's an image link. That's not a text link. In a text link, the anchor text is the actual text that is clickable.
Is
So-
that what you go to these sites where they have paragraphs and stuff, and every so often in the paragraph, there's part of the sentence that's got a link to it?
Mhm.
That's what you're talking about.
Yes, that's the anchor text of the link. And to Google, when Google sees the HTML code, it starts with the caret and then href. You're basically saying this is the reference to this link. That's what href stands for in HTML code. And then it's the link of where this link is going to go when you click it. And then after that, in quotes, is the anchor text of what's going to show up as highlighted and clickable as the link. And then it closes the box off. That's the HTML code for the link. So when Google sees that, it says, oh, we're redirecting traffic now to this site based on these keywords. So it's expecting to see that content on the other end when it gets there. So when Google Spider comes through, it's looking for links. It's looking to actively index the entire web. So it chews through the content. It says, link. Okay, we've got content here based on this keyword. Let's go index it. And then they get over there and they go, this doesn't match. What kind of shit is that? So all of a sudden it's like going, it's got a bad taste in its mouth right out of the gate. So it wants to throw up. You do not want Google throwing you up, right? So,
Okay, John, with that then, you want to have articles or you got to have something out there on the web someplace other than your website where somebody has some content that you've created, but it's got the links in it that lead back to your site, and that's different, obviously, than just doing the internal linking with those kinds of text links inside your own website. Or does your own website help as much as an external link with that text?
well, like let's take this for instance. If that were the anchor text, mortgages biweekly payment, right?
Mhm.
So that's the link. We click on it. The page that it goes to, if the URL of that page was something.com/mortgages biweekly payment, right? The title of the page was how to get your mortgages biweekly payments, or how to reduce your mortgage by using biweekly payments. That would be the title of the page, right? That's a title, by the way, that would get me to click on it. Because it's not just telling me what the thing is, it's telling me what it's going to do for me. It's going to lower my payments. Click. Right?
Hmm.
That's a user experience SEO tactic.
But that has to be, the link has to be off your website going to that page on your website.
Correct. So I'm just telling you about the ideal scenario for Google. So Google sees this over here. It also sees it up in its search engine, and it sees people clicking on it from there because you got an optimized title, right? Save money using, save money on your mortgage using a biweekly payment, right? That's the title. So that's going to get clicks naturally. Now you go into the description. Same thing. You write a compelling description with a call to action to click the link to get to save money, right? If you've got a mortgage, what are you going to be interested in? Saving money, right? If I had a mortgage, the only thing I would be interested in with that is saving money, right? Because I've already got the mortgage.
Right.
Right? I'm not sending people here to sign up for a mortgage. That's what I'm saying. I'm saying you send people to the relevant information. Now, H1 tag. Use bi-weekly payments to reduce your mortgage payments. You know, you're tying it all in. It doesn't have to be exact match all the way through. That's over optimization. What you want to do is you want to optimize for the user, not for the search engine. You want to make damn sure that user consumes the content that is your SEO.
So on those external links, John, isn't that what the link farms that are now banned used to try and do is have all these sites where you can post content, and they're just basically content sites with links going back to other websites, but nobody ever goes to those websites to read the content because it's
That's the whole problem. They got a good looking basket of eggs, right? They've got 11 bitchin' eggs in that basket. But the one that stinks is the idea that they've got 10,000 links and nobody's clicking them. You've got to get rid of the bad egg.
so is that where you're trying to do the content sharing with different but related businesses to what you do, or your customers like go that's not what you do? They want to put some of your content on their page and do a link swap and that kind of stuff?
That's where you'll see in my SEO trainings throughout the year when I shifted gears and I started talking about outreach link building. Outreach link building is the only effective way that I can see to build links at this point. You're identifying a perfect link partner. You're reaching out to them. You're supplying them with high quality content, which they know they need content, right? They're probably not good at it. So you're going to give them some. You're going to say, hey, let me write a couple pages for your site. And in them, we'll link for more information over to my site, and we'll put an affiliate link in for you so you make some money on it. Right? Those are good quality links. That guy is now going to promote those links because he's going to make money when somebody clicks on it. That's when you go to the EPC and you say, look, I've got an affiliate offer with a $10 EPC. That's earnings per click. So every time someone clicks, you're going to earn $10 on average. Obviously, not everyone's going to buy, right? But when they buy, it's probably going to give them $100. So if 1 out of 10 buys, that's a $10 EPC. So that's pretty compelling when you say, hey, I guarantee you, you're going to get on average $10 a click every time somebody clicks that. What's that guy going to do? He's going to shovel people on there and get them to click because he wants the $10. That's a damn good link partner right there.
Right.
That's somebody Google's going to see traffic coming through. They're going to see sales happening, and they're going to want to promote that link. So what do you think they're going to do? They're going to push it up in the search engine. And Google Performance Max, whether you're using it or not, is going to learn that activity. So if you ever go to learn it, they're going to know exactly who's buying your shit and where to find them. And they're going to know you've already figured out the copy. So they're going to copy what they're seeing and use it to your advantage. SEO can be an uphill battle, or it can be a downhill molding of a snowball. It's unstoppable if you do it right with minimal effort.
Almost frightening at one level, John.
You know how lazy I am.
John, I do have one question that's been eluding me, is that in your presentation for SitePop, your pool guys and everything else,
I was just going to say, which presentation?
Well, it's in virtually all of your presentations, because what it is those really nice, clean graphs for your keywords, and it shows what I have not been able to find the software that produces those reports, because those would be the solid gold to give to your client every month. Here's where we were, here's how we're going. And, you know, with correctly set expectations, up or down doesn't matter, but you can show the trend. I can't find a software that shows that trend. Which software does that?
if it's the ones I think you're referring to, it's right out of SitePop. I'm just screenshotting them.
SitePop creates those graphs that show what each individual keyword on the site has been doing over time.
Yeah, that's where I'm getting them.
Wow, I can't seem to find that in there. I've looked for it, but I guess.
Go into the reports page in SitePop. It's in there.
For each, and you click on each individual word and it pulls up.
Yep. You can do them by word, or you can pull the whole thing up, and sometimes it looks like a can of worms, but it'll give you the idea.
Well, that's exactly what I'm looking for. And I've seemed to been looking everywhere, but right underneath my nose.
That's awesome.
Well, the whole SEO thing is something that's top of mind for me right now, John. So I don't know how many other people got benefit out of this session, but this was solid gold. So thank you.
Yeah, it's not very
Definitely.
often we get onto the SEO topic anymore, but it's one I'm deeply ingrained in.
So I would say that I obviously have some problems with Placebook as far as keywords, because there was only 2 keywords and they were both basically useless keywords.
Yeah, now going back to a foundational SEO concept, SEO is truly based around keywords, right?
Right.
So what you need to do is you need to figure out, after you've done your market research and you figure out who is your ideal customer, you want to get into their head and you want to think about, okay, what is this person going to type in? What is this person looking for? What's their problem? What's the solutions? What could they, just make a list of all the things you think they might type in.
Right.
And then take that list and go back to SEMrush and put each keyword in individually and in the keyword research tab. Let's see, let me see what it's called. They've changed the name of it several times. It was called Keyword Magic for a while.
Yeah, I think I saw that.
Yeah, they have a Keyword Magic tool. So go to the Keyword Magic tool, put each individual keyword in. It'll give you a list of keywords and export them. Export them to Excel spreadsheet. And now you'll have, who knows, you might have 10, you might have 50 spreadsheets. And then what I'll do is I'll go in and I'll copy each spreadsheet and paste it into one single spreadsheet. So now I've got one jumbo spreadsheet with all these keywords. And then I deduplicate it, remove all the dupes, and I kill all the columns of the useless data that I don't need. And what I'm looking for is I'm looking for the search volume column. I'm looking for the pay-per-click column of how much people are willing to pay for the clicks. And for the most part, those are the 2 that are really important to me, is the pay-per-click column and the number of searches. Because what that's going to tell me is if nobody's willing to pay for it, it's probably not worthwhile. Now, that's not 100% rule across the board. I found keywords for water park development that no one was paying for, and there was only maybe 1 person a month searching for it, that in normal keyword research, it would have got thrown out the window. It would never have even gotten looked at. But because of what I was doing, what I wanted, I was okay with that. I figure 1 guy is all it takes for me to sell a $100 million water park. And I was right, because we sold one very quickly by doing that. We found every keyword. I don't care if it was 1 person searching it. We found every possible variation of a keyword for somebody looking to build a water park. And we optimized the holy bejesus out of all of them. And very quickly, we got somebody that bought a $100 million water park.
Cool. Very cool.
So that kind of goes against the normal rules of keyword research. But once I get that Excel spreadsheet with all the individual unique keywords, the first thing I'll do is I'll sort them by search volume. And I'll go and I'll look at the lower part of the list. And I'll usually throw it out, unless it's a real high value thing like a water park development. But if it's just, you know, mumbo jumbo, whatever, I'll just throw it out because it's not worth fighting for. You know, if there's only 2 people a month or 10 people a month, and you got keywords with 500 people a month, those are the ones I'm interested in. So I'll just throw the bottom of the list out when I sift it by search volume. And next I'll sift it by pay-per-click volume. And same thing, anybody that's not paying for those keywords, I'll throw those keywords out. And then I'll go back and I'll do the same sift again, and I'll take the top. And what I do is I put the background of the cells green on the top of the pay-per-click. So these are the keywords people are willing to pay the most for. And then I'll re-sift it. I'll resort the list by search volume. And the top of the list in the search volume, I'll turn the letters of the words red. And then I look at the list from 10,000 feet. And when I see red and green, that's like Christmas time. That's how I did it. And those are the keywords I'm going to optimize is Christmas. Red and green. That's how I've always done it.
John, the search volumes are monthly volumes?
Yes. In SEM Rush, they are.
What are they in Google?
I don't know offhand because I haven't searched them in there for over a decade.
Okay, so
You'd have to look and see what their criteria means.
but the search volumes in SEM Rush anyway are 30-day, and if you go someplace else and the numbers are similar, it's probably a 30-day kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah. So does that make sense?
Totally.
You've got the highest volume with the highest value is going to cross over. The red and green are going to cross. And that's Christmas Day.
It's gold.
That's Christmas morning. Let's open the presents.
So if you can rank for those keywords, then it's definitely Christmas.
Yeah. So next, that's your keyword research. So next, now you want to take that, you want to develop your site around those keywords. Like you want to divide them up and you want to categorize them. Like 10 keywords might go into one category. So now you know, okay, in this category, I need 10 pages. You know, unless the keywords are exactly the same, you basically, and you draw this out like the skeleton of a fish, right? So each backbone has the category, and then on the backbone, then you put the keywords, and now you've got your fish skeleton. And now we're going to put some meat on his bones. Now we know what the pages of your site are going to be. We know what the structure of your site's going to be. Now we're going to develop content. So each one of those keywords, I go back to Google, run the keyword in Google, and I scroll to the bottom of the page and I look at the recommended keywords. Those are the keywords I'm going to develop the content around for that page, because Google's already telling me these are relevant. I'm not guessing. I'm going at this as though I'm a mercenary. I'm going to kill something. So I'm not guessing. I'm taking every weapon at my disposal onto the battlefield here. And that's how I'm going to put the meat on the bones of that fish. And that's how I'm going to develop that site if I want a truly SEO'd website.
Huh.
So based around those keywords that Google has handed me on a silver platter, I'm going to develop content that's rich for the user and highly useful. It's almost given me a mind reading scenario of what that user's interested in.
Right.
So
And then
today I might take that information and I might feed it into Jarvis and let Jarvis write the copy based on AI. And then I'd take that, look at it and alter it to my liking to, for the user's benefit. But I don't have to start with a blank page. I never would start with a blank page.
Huh. And Jarvis that's an
AI writer.
script writer.
Yeah, it takes
Okay.
basically it'll take a keyword and it'll go out and it'll find all the content about that keyword on the internet. And it does the same thing based on AI. It knows what parts of that are important. And then it will take and it will pluck from all these different things and it will create unique content for you, pulled out of 1,000 different sources. It'll take the best of the best and cram it into one page for you.
That sounds like something I should be interested in.
I would be if I were you.
So I have I think a rather unique scenario here because I'm a mortgage broker who got a real estate license because I was advertising real estate and realtors didn't like that, even though I was helping them. And so now I have a real estate license and I'm in a catch-22 because now as a realtor, I can make, 5-10 times as much money doing a real estate transaction as I can doing a mortgage transaction. So I don't really know whether my site's a mortgage site or a real estate site now.
Well, go back to the A in ACT.
That's what confused me the most because I
do
don't know
your-
which one's my guy.
Do your analysis based on segmentation. First
Yeah.
step, segment your audience. Where are all of your opportunities? And then look at those segments and decide which one's most profitable.
The mortgage, because I can do 10 mortgages a day and really only ever sell one house if I was lucky. I mean, in a perfect world, I could do 10 mortgages and sell a house.
Yeah.
But
And when you look at the profitability for your ideal customer, it's not always about the money.
Right.
It's think about it as what's going to be the easiest. What's the easy money? Not necessarily the big money. Like the big money might be in selling a $10 million houses, but
Right.
that might be harder than hell to do.
it
And
is.
life's going to be a living hell trying to accomplish it. That
Right.
doesn't mean that's your most profitable one. If you've
I
got
agree.
something that's just going to throw money at you as fast as you can spend it, and your life's going to be, a dream, that's your most profitable segment. It's not always about the volume of money. It's about the ease of the money and what you have to do to get it.
Right. Well, I looked
That's
at
what's
it from
gonna
a
make you happy.
I looked at it from a marketing perspective, I think. I haven't gone all the way through ACT yet. I'm still not even halfway.
Okay.
But initially, without you and without ACT, I thought, well, if I could advertise mortgages on a real estate website, that's my perfect customer because everybody looking there is going to need a mortgage.
That
So if
makes
I
a
can
lot of sense.
supply them with the listings and tell them own this house for $1,500 a month, contact me and I'll get you the mortgage, then I'd be laughing. So
Mhm.
that's where the concept came from. And
Okay.
that's how I'm doing it. And it's working, but it's, my concept of how things work and your concept of how things really work are two way different things. So I'm not getting any traffic and I'm not, basically it's word of mouth for me now. So now I have to build it to make sure that I can keep it going. And
Based on what you just told me, would you like to know what I would do?
yes, absolutely I do.
I would figure out the perfect funnel to sell those mortgages. I'd figure out the headline for it, the big idea.
Right.
And I would go out and I would find real estate sites that already have the traffic that are willing to sell me an advertising spot on them.
Okay. brilliant. And that's where I started. And then I got my real estate license. So I shot myself in the foot.
Yeah, it happens.
So now realtors won't participate with me because they think I'm going to steal their real estate clients, which I probably would do. I mean, for me, if I get a mortgage deal, if I do your mortgage, I'm like you. I want to do your next mortgage and your next mortgage and your next mortgage.
Yeah.
And I don't really care who you buy your house from.
Yeah. So you create a symbiotic relationship with, with them. You say, hey, your people need this. If I can get them a better deal, they can spend more on a house, right? I'm going to make you more money.
Right.
I'm going to show them how they can get a bigger, better house and spend more money and put more in your pocket.
I agree with that 100%, except the pushback from them is now that, well, you're a realtor, so you're just going to take my client. If I give you the mortgage and you have their details, you're going to
How do they
keep
know
going back
you're
after them and take them as a real estate client.
How do they know you're a realtor?
Because my site's a everything about me is Facebook, which is a real estate and mortgage site.
Okay. So who says you have to show them that site?
Well, nobody, except that's nobody. So I could
So who's in control of the content on that site?
I am.
Well, there you go.
Would you do two different sites?
I
One
would.
mortgage and real estate
No.
together as Facebook, and then one just as
You
who I've
just-
always been, which is we
you
called
just-
ourselves the bank fighters.
You just said your easy money is in mortgages. You're a mortgage broker.
Yes.
So that's what your site is all about.
Huh. Okay. So I get that, but here's the gist of what I did. So I couldn't advertise per se on a realtor's site my mortgage product without paying them handsomely. But I could advertise a property. So 123 Oak Street, and I could take the pictures and I could take all the listing information and I could put it online and say, you could own this house for $1,500 a month. So what?
I think you just
Yeah,
broke.
I thought my computer was quitting on me again.
No, I think we lost him. But in answer to his question, yes, he could do all of those things.
I'm gonna do stuff on my computer, John, and I thought it was my computer for a minute.
Well, while we're waiting for him to come back, I had a question for you, Mr. Tim.
Uh-oh.
I have a client that just asked me if I know anybody that's doing Amazon and Kindle books. I didn't know if that's up your alley.
No.
No? Okay.
No. Amazon and Kindle books. I think
Is that Jim Butts? Is he?
Jim Butts does that, doesn't he?
Well, I know he does.
You know Jim.
Yeah, I know he does the Amazon stuff.
And I don't know how well connected you are to Jim. I mean, I haven't talked to Jim, and
Yeah, I've got his number. He used to be in the ACT program.
yeah, last I talked to him was inside of Frank Kern's program. So
Yeah, yeah. In fact, he was in the apprentice program for a while.
Yeah.
So, Andy, you're muted out. We lost you there for a minute.
it's been interesting listening to this, by the way, while I'm in the middle of changing websites.
I totally lost you there.
Yeah, you had blanked out, but you were going into all the stuff you could do, and I was like, yeah, you could do all those things. Is it the right thing to do? That's up to you.
Right.
If you want, just like I'm like lightning, path of least resistance. If
Right.
there's an easy way for me to make money, I'm going to chameleon into it. It would be like if I had my website back in the day and I was doing SEO, right? And I happen to have a car and maybe once a month I Ubered people around just for fun, for entertainment on the weekends. If I put up that I'm an Uber driver on the website, are you going to hire me for SEO?
Right.
Fuck no, you're not. So would I do that? Could I do that? Of course I could do that. But would I and should I? No.
Okay, so I'll throw a different twist at it. So I'm a real estate mortgage agent and my wife is a mortgage agent. So what you've talked about so far is go after the realtors, and I could do that with my wife. And our site is beatthebanks.com. So we could specifically target realtors just from her standpoint. And she gets a lot more action than I do anyways, because just because
She's a woman. She's gonna get more action than you.
Right?
You walked
Absolutely.
into that one.
Totally, 100%.
Beat the banks. That actually sounds more like a mortgage deal than a real
It
estate.
does.
Totally. It's beatthebanks.com too. So it's
you-
what we've been living off actually for the last 20 years, basically. So
Yeah. Yeah. Huh. Interesting. Yeah, you just kind of need to take inventory of your assets. Not to say that you can't run two businesses, but you might not want to run them under the same roof.
right.
Meaning website.
Yeah, but everything that we did in the past was, my wife's name is April. So it was Andy and April, and we were known as the bank fighters.
Okay.
So that was our shtick.
And that was having to do with mortgages, correct?
Right. Right.
Okay.
So now anything that I do online, like when you did that site placebook, and when we looked on SEM Rush, that's all my past stuff as a mortgage agent that was coming up. And it's Andy and April Bradley, all of it, because that's what we've always been a team for 20 years.
Yeah.
And then I thought I could outcraft the realtors by getting all their listings and promoting mortgages for them. And that's where Placebook came from.
Yeah.
But anytime, like, I'm not sure if I Google April Bradley, if it'll come up Andy and April Bradley or vice versa, but chances are it will.
Yeah.
So,
Well, I would kind of take inventory of that and figure out if that's where your money's been coming from, and that's what you know, and that's what's easy for you, and you just need a way to market and get more of that. That's your path of least resistance.
right. Right.
That's an easy shift for you. And I can almost guarantee you there's places that you could run ads for mortgage on real estate sites where they'll, it's pay to play.
Yeah.
And if you can get that work and get it easily and cost effectively and scale your business up, that would be a good place to start.
Right. I agree. My concept I'm trying to catch the people that are typing in a specific, not key, I guess it is a keyword, an address. Somebody who sees 123 Oak Street is for sale and types it in to get the info on it. And I was trying to be all over that with Placebook and mortgage and the costs, and that's the concept that I'm trying to build.
Yeah. It's a
There you
big,
go, John. I'll see you next week.
all right, Tim. Yeah, it's just a big thing. It almost falls into the thing we were talking about earlier about a movement. You're almost trying to create a movement there, and there could be a lot of money on the end of the movement, but it's a big ominous project to get that up to the scale you're talking about.
Right.
Whereas
Which is what I found.
yeah. Whereas you could make a couple of little tweaks and you could be in the money and rolling in it probably pretty quick with minimal effort.
Just going back to what we've always done.
Yeah. Yeah. Like I had one of the guys that was talking to me about starting a new business, and he had struggled with this thing for like 3 years. And he was doing all the right stuff, and just, it was just an uphill ramp and he just wasn't making any traction. He's beating his head against the wall. And I asked him a simple thing that I probably should ask him on day one was, where do you make your money? And he made his money in real estate. He was good at it. And I looked at his site and I'm like, your site sucks. I get that you're good at this. How about we just fix this and make this work for you? And you
Right.
can be even better at it. With a slight little tweak and a little bit of advertising, he tripled his income effortlessly.
I like the sound of that.
So that would be probably my recommendation. It's almost on the same line.
Right.
You've got a business that you've built over a lifetime that is working and profitable and good. The thing that's changed is the environment around it. You just need to alter your course a little bit and leverage the internet to put that thing back on the track.
Right.
That's where I would head with it.
So
Doesn't mean I'm right, but that's where I'd head with it, because I have a soft head. I don't like banging it.
what I
Richard
thought
loves
was
that one every time I say it.
and I hate to be like, how many people are left here? Just 4 of us?
The 4 of us. Yeah.
So you guys have any issues with me asking more questions? I don't want to dominate this call.
I'm loving it. It's hidden. This is the SEO call I've been waiting months for John. He's dumping all the good stuff on this one. So I'm gonna go back and put this one on a constant loop.
It's exactly what I'm trying to figure out. So keywords that, and I know nothing about it, John. So like I'm trying to build something and I have no concept or clue. Well, I have a concept, but I have no clue how to do it.
Yeah.
But the keyword part of it, I thought that having a website called Placebook, I could try and make that like a household word. And I have the big idea, which is I can now advertise sold prices of homes in Canada, which we couldn't do that before. So I've got this huge carrot that nobody else. There's a couple that are really big players that are advertising, but they don't advertise sold prices.
Yeah.
If you get on their website, they'll give them to you, but nobody's advertising it. And I think I can take like a huge bite out of this real estate market by advertising it. So a lot of what I'm doing is branded, see what realtors see. And I'm coming at it from a mortgage broker's point of view, offering not only mortgages and real estate services, but offering people to see what the realtors see. So I can say, like, you don't have to call a realtor to find out how much your neighbor's house sold for. Just go to Placebook.
Yeah.
And eliminate all that, because people hate calling realtors. They don't want to call, and so they just go, well, I wonder what that house sold for. Well, I can make it so that everybody that wants to know can know now, and that's my big carrot, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's the concept. And the bonus to me is that everybody that ever asks that question and wants to see what realtors see has to sign up with me, which means now I can market to them, whether it's real estate services or mortgage services, right?
Yeah.
And that's the only way they can get the information. So that's the true concept of Placebook. And I want it to be so that if I can make it work, that anybody that says, oh, I wonder what that house sold for, well, just go on Placebook and check it out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
And
the whole thing about creating a household name, that doesn't happen overnight. And it's usually, it's got to be driven, like, let's compare it to Facebook.
right. Okay.
Facebook is a household name, right?
Right.
How did it happen?
Word of mouth and sharing, right?
Marketing.
Well, it happened by identifying a market that was hungry for something. And it happened in the colleges.
Right.
You know, it was created in the colleges for college students to see what each other was doing, but also be able to have social value. It was like, who was most popular? It was a, you know, and it was put together by a goofy kid that was not popular, that got dumped by a girl and was trying to get even. You know? And it just happened to take off like wildfire.
Right.
You know, and that's, I don't even know that it was necessarily planned. It was a kid that had some very good skills. You know, I think you know his name.
Yeah, Zuckerberg.
He had some computer skills and was very angry at the world. You know, because he had some guys that paid him to make something really good, and they wanted it, and he wanted it too. So the what the hell were they? The twins, forget their name, but there was those two twins that had paid him to do this. And then he basically took it for himself. So there was this rivalry of the two twins were the popular kids in school. They were the ones that were rich and got everything they ever wanted, and you know, and he didn't. And so, you know, it comes back to, you know, angry at the world.
Right.
He had his girlfriend that dumped him. He just created this, you know, the software that could make her look like something she didn't want to look like to all of her friends. And, you know, he just, I don't know if you know how that all went down.
Yeah, I saw the movie.
Well, there you go.
He was and is a slime ball start to finish.
There you go.
But, you know, he came out with a household name.
And a few $1 billion.
Mm-hmm.
Now here's, can I add a footnote to that story?
Sure.
In 1975, we actually had a publication in LA called Facebook. And it was an actors directory that was put together by a publishing house to get actors in front of casting agents. And they did the same thing. They put pictures, and then you paid $25, you got your one picture. You paid $50, you got $25, you got the picture plus a little bio. And then of course the prices went up. And it lasted about 2 years, and it came out every quarter. But the word Facebook was around before Zuckerberg locked onto it.
Huh.
But there it is. But John says earlier, if it exists in the real world, it will exist in the digital world. And that was it. There was Facebook before the invention of the internet of 1975.
Huh.
Everything that's worked offline has been able to be transitioned and done digitally.
Right.
It's amazing. It's pretty cool. All right. Well, I got to get ready for another meeting here, so I'm gonna go ahead and wrap her up for today. I think we covered some good stuff.
Definitely. Thanks so much for all those nuggets. I'll go back and watch this a few times. I'll tell you that.
No problem.
Yeah, some
All
good
right.
stuff.
Absolutely, John. Thanks so much for hanging in there and clearing so much stuff up.
All right.
And just before we go, so if there's a way for me to hire you or your company or your people to help me with SEO, or just
Yeah.
do the free stuff?
Yeah, I mean, we can have that discussion when you're ready.
Okay, because I obviously need help. When we look at that SEM, I thought I must be doing something wrong here. And I mean, two keywords and they're not even relevant. That's not too cool.
SEO starts with a foundation. Otherwise, you're a house built on sand.
Right.
Quicksand in most cases.
Well, maybe what I need is somebody to build me a foundation. I've got the content because I get all the listings, right? So I've got content coming out my wazoo. There's more solds and new listings coming onto the site every second, every minute. It's just how to build the foundation and get people there other than them hearing about it, right?
Yeah. All right. Well,
But-
cool.
I'll check out in the ACT program. It was under the, where was it again?
That's under the analysis piece.
Analysis
Yeah, it's
in the
basically,
traffic portion.
yeah, it's, well, it's the traffic has the SEO stuff.
Yeah, that's what I need. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Go under the T and look for the SEO Dominator training.
Okay. I'll start there and I'll get a couple ideas.
Okay. Sounds good.
Thanks, John. I appreciate your time and your brilliance
You got it. Anytime. Every Thursday.
every Thursday.
All right, guys. Have a great
Thanks,
week.
John.
And we will talk to you soon.
All right,
Thanks, John.
guys. Thanks. Bye.